Okay, so I promised the other day, in the description of the videos that I posted for the different, active VR games, that I was going to do one video where I was going to, not explain, but basically expose my results about which is the best PSVR game for exercising. So here I have a full list of all the ones I tried. There are many of them that I even completed, like trophy wise, like I got the platinum in the game and all that. There are many others that I didn't complete. I just played them a few hours, so I know what they are about. So examples of platinums: Sprint Vector, Beat Saber, which is the other one, Creed, BoxVR. I completed Racket Fury 2, which was extremely difficult. There are many of them. Until You Fall, I also got it for Until You Fall. One of the few people that had so much patience. But there are many others that I only play a few hours. Like for example, Knockout League, Synth Riders. I really haven't played it that much. Played it for like 10 hours maybe. OhShape I didn't get the platinum, but I did everything in it except getting the platinum. I even ended up with one of the top 10 scores for the expert mode in one song only. I'm not that hardcore. Just for one song and that's it. Which was the one that I used for like a massive grind in the game, where they asked for so many points for this and this. So I did that, and after that I got it for that. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna tell you how all of them, I'm gonna mention all the ones I played that work as exercising, games that work to exercise as a cardio activity, similar to jogging, similar to, nothing heavy, nothing too difficult, but like, jumping for a few minutes, something that's gonna make you sweat, something that has potential. In the case of some of these games, it doesn't just have potential, it will make you lose weight if you do it every day. If you do it like 1 hour every day, you're gonna lose weight for sure. For others, it's not that strong, and it's not gonna make you lose that much weight or anything, but it's gonna still work as an activity that's going to raise your heart rate. You're gonna sweat a little, and it will work not like running. Running is more intense, but it will be like the equivalent of like slow jogging, something like that, when it comes to a cardiovascular benefit. And we're talking about a game here. This is something that really surprised me, and it really got me interested in all this VR gaming stuff, PSVR and all that, because at the beginning, when I experienced Beat Saber and I realized that it worked to exercise, I was like, what else is there, in this console, in this gaming stuff that works to exercise? I want to experience all of that. I want to see what is the best, and I want to see how it works for me. And from experience, I know that several of them work. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cover the ones that I consider like the top 5 first, but for all the 20 of them, there are like 20 of them here that I think that work to sweat and to sort of like exercise. I'm gonna cover these review categories pretty fast. Some of them I'm gonna talk more about them, the best ones. Others I'm just gonna tell you, okay, it's good, but this and this and that, and that's it for that. Like you can get the others first because they're better games, they're better material, even if you just want to use it for exercising. But they're not the best ones out of the 20, so I'm not gonna talk much about those. So I'm gonna use these review categories. Number 1, how fun is it? If it isn't fun, just go running, do some weight training, do a real exercising routine, and don't do the game. This is common sense, by the way. Why will you do? Why will you want to exercise with a game if it is not a lot more fun than everything else? Wouldn't make sense to me. Like, I like Sprint Vector and I like Beat Saber because they're fun. Because I don't feel like I am exercising with them, even though at the end I'm all sweaty, as if I was like jogging. And if I did it every day, which I don't do it anymore because I would be like losing weight. There was some time, like a couple of years ago, when I was doing it every day, so I know that they work. But yeah, you want to use this for exercising if it is more fun, or because it is more fun. Not because it is a game, but because it is more fun than the actual exercising routine. If it feels boring, there are a couple of them that felt boring. I'm gonna say it here. I'm sorry for those games, but too bad. If it feels boring, there's no point in doing the exercising with a game. You want to do it with a game because it doesn't feel like exercising even though you're doing it. That's the idea of the whole thing here, is that. And the real reason why I think it works so well is that it, for me, I was looking for that specifically. Like, I wanted a sports game. I wanted a game to sweat and to exercise. Like I wanted that in a game. But there are people who want a game, and they want it because of the fun or the entertainment. And if they get the other benefit, which is sweating a lot, makes you kind of like have like a cardio session. It's like exercising, but like it's like an equivalent of slow jogging, something like that, which is gonna make you sweat, but it's not too hard. But if you do it too much, like 1 hour every day, you're gonna lose some weight, and it does help with with health, with being in shape, all that. It's a game changer. Like honestly, it's a game changer, because before this, gaming was a very sedentary activity. It wasn't anything special in that regard. It wasn't recommended for for healthy stuff. But today, if you get these ones that after my test, because I actually tested this for real. Like I tested with myself to the point where I can even divide it in categories and tell you this is the one that works best for neck exercising. This is the one that works best for leg related exercising. This is the one that works best for arms. And we're gonna get there, but there's only one, in my opinion, that works for arms, which is Beat Saber, and I don't think anyone should be surprised here, the most sold VR game of all time is Beat Saber. Why do you think that is? I think it's not just because it's fun, but because people realize that it doubles as not just a game that is fun, but also an exercising activity. And obviously it's a great benefit in that sense. So that's why people buy it, and why people stick with it. And the ones that play it too much, like I once did, you're gonna see that you're gonna lose some weight, like if you do it every day, especially in the hard expert level categories. And if you do it like for 40 minutes non-stop, next day you do it again, you're gonna be sweating every day. So it's gonna work. But I'm gonna warn you also about things that may not be perfect about it. Perhaps I will mention how to avoid it. If not, I'm gonna tell you, okay, this is an alternative, another game that works for this, that is also fun and that doesn't have this problem. Because some of the good ones, like Beat Saber actually, they do have some negatives, and I'm gonna mention them here. I'm not gonna go like, oh, this is the greatest ever for exercising and there's no minuses. No, there are minuses, and I'm gonna mention them as well. How do I know them? Because I played it a lot, so I know. So the categories for each one of them. Number one, the fun. How fun is it? You want again to exercise that's fun, obviously. If it is not fun, skip it. Go do standard running. It's better for you. Go do weight training. Go to a gym. Do real exercising. The only reason why I would pick a game to exercise and stay with it instead of the other routine is because it doesn't feel like exercising. It's more fun. If that's not the case, skip that one. And use the ones that do make you feel that way. So the other category, weight loss potential. This is a big benefit for many people, even for people that don't care about games. like weight loss potential. You know, at home, you're not at a gym paying membership every month. You're not you don't have to, you know, pick up the car and drive like me, like half an hour, maybe even more, to get to the running track. And I love running at a running track. I do like that, but you know, sometimes you cannot drive 40 minutes to get to a running track and run like two miles there, something like that. But if you have something here that is at least 60% as good, well, you have something that is pretty great, which is the real reason why I play this game so much. So weight loss potential, which is the same thing as how good is this game to sweat a lot. How much do you sweat with this? How good is it as a cardio activity that's gonna make you sweat a lot? It's gonna raise your heart rate. I'm gonna mention maybe for a couple of them that if you have any kind of heart problem, like this is for real, this is serious. Or if you think that you're not, you know, very healthy, maybe you're, you know, fat, very fat, maybe you should not do those because they're too intense. Stick to the other easier ones, which I will also mention here. So I'm gonna, you know, keep all that in mind. Instead of just giving you a quick list like a top 10, no, I'm gonna go here with, you know, the way it should be done, which is telling you everything that you should expect. Everything that's gonna happen here. This one is better for this one is better for that. None of them is perfect. Like even Sprint Vector, which is my number one, by the way, has an inconvenience that I'm gonna tell you what it is. There's an inconvenience in Sprint Vector, which even turned me off from it the very first time I played it, and I stopped playing it for like a year, and then I went back to it and I was like, oh, I'm gonna learn how to do this, I'm gonna do it right. And after I learned how to do it, number one. So difficulty for new players. I'm gonna tell you the difficulty for new players for all of them. I'm gonna say quickly, but it matters because there are some of them that are very good, like Sprint Vector, but they are very difficult at the beginning. So you have to be willing to learn it, learn how to do it like a sport. You have to be willing to learn at first to get good at a sport. If you don't get at least a little good, you don't learn the basics, you're not gonna be able to play the sport. So it happens like that with some of these, but it is worth it. There are others that are very easy though, so if you don't want to go through a learning curve for anything, just go with the ones that I'm gonna, you know, mention as the easy ones. So fun, how fun is it? Weight loss potential, how much do you sweat with it? If you just wanted to make sure they lose weight, it has to be the one that makes you sweat the most. So I'm gonna say which ones are those. Difficulty, how difficult is it for someone that is completely new player? Then number 4, muscle building potential. Like, is this just about sweating and zero muscle building, or is there some potential for muscle building from this game? There are only 2 of them, in my humble opinion, that have true potential for muscle building. You're gonna know which ones those are. I'm gonna say it, you know, when I go one by one. Any unique plus and any major negative. So if there's something that maybe this one is not the best in the list, maybe it's number 5, number 6, but there's a unique plus there that none of the others have, and I noticed that one has it. I'm gonna mention it. For example, which is the best one for neck exercising. That's very rare, that's not common at all, so it is one of those unique pluses. So I'm gonna say which one that was. Any major negative, maybe there's a major negative, and there is a major negative for Beat Saber, believe it or not, which is top 3 material for sure, but there's one major negative. You need to know it. I think it's important to know it, even if it is not for you, even if it is you know, like a kid, your son, your daughter, you know, a kid at the house who's playing it a lot. You should know that negative exists, you know, just to make sure that the kid doesn't get injured. Or if it is you and you're playing it too much, you should know it so that you don't get injured. So that's it. So I'm gonna mention here all the. Okay, so let's go straight to the point. Otherwise, I take too long here. Because I like talking. I like talking, so I take a long time. So, in my opinion, the best ones. I'm gonna tell you why, but let's just say the names already, so you know. The number one, best PSVR exercising game. If you want the game for exercising, to sweat as an exercise, in my opinion, number one is Sprint Vector. I'm gonna tell you why, but I'm just gonna mention the ones I really love for this stuff. Number one, Sprint Vector. Number two, Dance Collider. Number three, Beat Saber. Number four, Creed, Rise to Glory. Especially the drills, not the fights in the game, even though you can sweat a lot with those, especially at the beginning when you're learning, you sweat a lot. But the drills, like the practice drills at the boxing gym in Creed, those are so good. And then number five, which is not one of my favorites, but I'm gonna say why I put it there, BoxVR. So now we're gonna go through all of them. I got like 20 games in the list here. All of them work as cardio games. Some of them are not that good, but they still work something. Others are wonderful. I'm gonna tell you what's great about them, and if there's any negative, I'm gonna mention that too. So let's go with number one, Sprint Vector. Sprint Vector is, I think it's the best one to sweat, especially if you do the challenges. Like, it has the races. For a new player, the races are already pretty hard, really challenging. So that's all you need for a new player. But if you already got better at it and you pass the races, you managed to get first places and all that, it still has like a challenge mode with a lot of really difficult challenges that are so crazy, but they are so good. Like as an exercise to sweat. I don't think I have ever sweat so much. Well, maybe running, actual real life running at a running track. I do sweat that much with real running, that's for sure. But it was something that it really left me perplexed. Like when I was playing Sprint Vector seriously, like really wanting to pass the challenges, which are really hard, not for everyone, but I stuck to it and stayed with it until I passed them. I was sweating so much with that stuff that I even had to change underwear and everything, which was something that left me like, what is this? Like, when did I have to do this? When I returned from running at a real running track and running like miles, like 2-3 miles, that was the only time that I had to like change underwear because I sweat too much. I never experienced something like this in anything else. Like, I don't sweat that much if I'm doing weight training or something like that. So I have played other VR cardio games that are good for that. You can see the videos. I'm gonna put this in that playlist. There are many others. Then they make you sweat, some cases a lot, but not this much. Like when I finally got good enough in Sprint Vector to pass the races and get first places, and I was like, I'm gonna do those challenges now. And I went into there and I took them seriously, and the sweating was serious. Like, if I continue doing that for just 1 hour every day, I will have lost weight, guaranteed. And the best part of all this is that I also rank. So yeah, let's go with the ranking. How do I rank Sprint Vector in the fun? Here's the thing. At the beginning, it's not fun because it is a hard game. The movement mechanics, they are not easy. So you're gonna have to play the tutorials more than once until you get it. You're gonna have to train, at the main stadium, where I think you double tap the triangle button and it removes, the screen with the options and all that, and it leaves you there without any screen, so you can run around and practice stuff and jump and glide and get better, at the mechanics. You're gonna have to do that. A lot of people probably don't do that. The very first time I played it, I didn't want to do that, and I played a race and I ended like in last place. And I played another race and I ended like in 8th place, last place. And I was like, wow, this is too hard. Beat Saber is more fun. Forget about this crap. So I left it and didn't dedicate the time to get good at it. I went back to Beat Saber. But 1 year later, or 1 year and a half maybe, like a very long time after, I went back to the game and I took it seriously. Like, let's train, let's learn how to do the running in a sprint vector like they want you to do the running. Obviously it's not real running, but it's trying to kind of like simulate like this inline skateboarding, not skateboarding, inline skating basically. It's trying to simulate inline skating like that. You have to press a button when you have your hand here and let it go when you get with the hand at the end, and you have to do it with the other arm as well, with the other hand, and you have to coordinate. It takes some coordination, unfortunately. You have to coordinate correctly the pressing of the button with the movement of your hand. If you do it right, it looks as if you're running in the game. If you don't do it right, you probably crash with something and you're not going to end up in first place, obviously. I think that many people probably lose patience with that and they don't learn it. Learn it. My recommendation, do it, because if you manage to get the mechanics of movement, of running and jumping and gliding and drifting and all that in sprint vector, you got like in my opinion the best PSVR exercising game at your disposal, and a pretty good racing game, because it is one of the VR games that it has to be done in VR. It cannot be done outside of VR. You're the one you see yourself running there. The movement of your hands with your presence of buttons and stuff looks like what is happening in the screen. So it looks like you're doing it. But obviously you're not running with your feet. But it feels like it. It feels like it. The adrenaline is there, the speed is there, the racing is there. So it's not just great, in my opinion, as an exercising game to sweat a lot. It's also great as a racing game. It's also great as one of those that only works in VR. So in my opinion, here's the only negative: the difficulty. Because at the beginning they have this sort of complicated movement mechanic, and you need to learn how to drift. You need to learn how to double jump and glide after you double jump. There are things that you have to learn to get better at it. If you don't learn that, you won't be able to use it to exercise, because you just will be, crashing with things in the middle of the races. It's not going to be fun. But if you learn that, number one, it's going to be very fun. And number two, it's going to be a lot more intense, because it's a race. You want to get first, at least second place, and that rush ends up making it an exercise, because then you're moving a lot, you're running, it's unlike the others. I think this is one of the few that simulates the running quite well. One of the others I'm gonna mention is Stride, but I didn't really enjoy Stride that much, and I think Stride is even more complicated than Sprint Vector. It's the entry to get good at it is too high for new players. So you're gonna be completely frustrated at the beginning. So just go with Sprint Vector. Really, it's more fun. It's my number one PSVR game if you want to exercise. So number two, Beat Saber. So how is the fun with Beat Saber? The fun is pretty high. The fun is it's basically a slashing game. Like if you like swords and you like slashing things like blocks and that kind of thing with swords, and you like the idea of getting training reflexes for that, it's fun. It's an arcadey game. It feels arcadey, but it feels enjoyable. Many different difficulty modes. So easy mode is super easy. Expert plus is like for maniacs, literally. Expert mode without the plus is not for maniacs, but it is difficult. So it's a good challenge for new players for sure. But here's the thing. Okay, so weight loss potential. Weight loss potential in Sprint Vector is very high, and in Beat Saber is very high. You can sweat a lot with both of them. So, you know, if I have to rate like 5 out of 5, both of them get a 5 out of 5. Like Sprint Vector, 5 out of 5 for weight loss potential. Beat Saber, 5 out of 5 for weight loss potential. If you play in the expert modes, because if you play on easy, you're not gonna lose weight, obviously. On easy, on normal, maybe on hard mode, you have to play in the expert modes to, you know, for it to be an effective exercise. It has to be intense. Okay, so any unique plus for Beat Saber, and this is a major plus, is that in my opinion, it is one of the two only ones that I saw where I really felt that, you know, like my arms, like the biceps, they were working. I think that the only PSVR, perhaps even the only VR game where you can get your arms, you know, like ripped, like we're talking real ripped, like definition, is with Beat Saber. Obviously, you will have to be playing Expert Plus. You will have to be playing one Saber mode. So you have to be playing the hardest modes. One Saber mode, in my opinion, is the best one in Beat Saber to exercise and to, you know, get kind of ripped in your arms, basically. It's the only one. But if you do it there, you know, it's difficult. It's not easy. If you do it there, you're gonna see the effect. I felt it. I felt it when I was playing it too much. I will feel it. Like if I was, you know, like doing push-ups or something like that, you will end up with, you feel it in your arms. However, it does not replace weight training. Like playing too much with Saber in one Saber mode, which in my opinion is the best one for exercising. Number 2 will be Expert Plus. It's not gonna give you muscle mass like weight training, but it you know, it works like the other exercises, like push-ups and that kind of thing, that if you do too many push-ups, your arms are not gonna get bigger, but you get stronger and they get like ripped. That happens with Beat Saber too if you know, use it too much, like 1 hour every day. In Expert Plus only and in the one Saber mode. You know, I know this from self-experience. So I know from my own experience, I know it happens. It works that way. So Beat Saber essentially is number 2. But there's the major negative. What is the major negative for this one? Many of them don't have any major negative. Unfortunately, Beat Saber, the number 2, so I do consider it a great game for exercising in VR, has one major negative. You just have to avoid it. If you avoid it, it doesn't have to happen to you. The major negative is that it's very easy and very common for people that play Expert Plus, which is the super hard and super fast mode, to use their wrist too much. Instead of doing a full slash, a full standard slash with the sword to cut the cue, where you don't move the wrist, but you do it, you know, completely like that, you know, moving the arms, moving the shoulders even. If you just use your wrist and you play too much Expert Plus, like 1 hour every day, using your wrist too much, obviously you're gonna injure your wrist. Perhaps it's not gonna happen to everyone, perhaps it happens to some people. It didn't happen to me because I realized it before it happened. Like I was playing too much Expert Plus and one day I started to feel like my wrist a little strange and I was like, oh, I need to stop playing like that. Either quit Expert Plus, or if I continue playing Expert Plus, I cannot do it with wrist movement. I have to eliminate wrist movement to cut the cues in Beat Saber. So I did that. I didn't quit Expert Plus, I eliminated wrist movement. which made it harder, but it also takes away the possibility of injury, which is an injury that you don't want, because you know, if there's a game that's gonna injure your wrist, you want to quit that. No, you know, no exercising program, no. Like me, like I was shooting for high scores. Like I don't worry about that today anymore. But back then, like 2 years ago, I was shooting for top 10 Beat Saber scores in PSVR. I did get some of them. I am okay. My PSN name is Valkyrian Creator with a B. I do think that some of my scores are still there. Like if you go to Escape in the first album, first volume, and you go to the one that is the hardest mode for the mode, you know, the hardest difficulty for the mode that doesn't have any arrows in the blocks. The blocks come like with a dot in the center. Okay, that mode, I still have a top 10 score there in the song Escape. I don't remember. I think, oh yes, I definitely have in the songs, but this is not a free pack. This is a bought pack. You have to buy it like for $5, something like that. In the original one, in the Monster Cat pack, song Epic in expert mode, I think I'm still like number 4 or number 5 there in the top 10. So yeah, so I'm just saying it so you know that I'm I'm saying the truth when I told you that I was doing this very seriously, like very competitively. And as someone who was doing it like that, I can tell you that you can get your wrist all messed up with Expert Plus in Beat Saber if you use it too much to pass the song. Don't use it. Use your arms. Use a full normal slash. If you cannot do Expert Plus without full normal slashes and you need to use your wrist, skip it. Because it, you know, it's like a recipe for a wrist injury. So obviously it's a big negative. This is good enough reason for many people to not want to use Beat Saber as their exercising weight loss with VR game. Like obviously I do recommend you play Beat Saber. It's one of the top VR games, and I am very serious about this. The reason why it's not my number 1 or my number 2 has a lot to do with that. Like I noticed that negative. You don't have that with Sprint Vector. You're not gonna mess up any wrist with Sprint Vector. And Dance Collider. So I switched then. So I switched Dance Collider with Beat Saber. So let's go to Dance Collider now. Dance Collider is my favorite for fun. So which is the beer game that makes you sweat a lot, that I found the most fun out of them all? I think it's Dance Collider. Number 2 is Sprint Vector, after I learned how to move in it correctly, after I learned how to play it right. But number 1 is Dance Collider. In my opinion, the most fun, you know, for me at least, of the VR rhythm games. So Dance Collider in the fun category is the best one for me. Okay, let's see what else I wrote here for Dance Collider. It has, and this is a big deal for me, in my opinion, for my taste, it has the best music. So here we have a game that makes you sweat, that makes you, you know, work out, that also has wonderful music, and that is also very fun. This is the recipe to be immersed and to basically exercise without realizing that you're exercising, because it feels more like playing a game. So you don't even feel when the time is going by until you're too tired and you have to stop, because you just cannot do it anymore, because obviously it is a form of cardio exercising. So yeah, I played it so much. Like I have some videos here in the channel. You can go and check how I did. I am one of the top 3 scorers in the game in the North American version. Valkyrian Creator. If you have the North American version of Dance Collider, you're gonna see me all over the place. Like no matter what song you pick, if it is in the hardest difficulty, Valkyrian Creator is all over the place there. Because I really enjoyed that one as for fun, as game, and also as an exercising activity to sweat a lot. So Dance Collider. Another great thing about Dance Collider, I think it's the cheapest. It's only like a $9.99, $10 basically, $10, and that is without a discount. With a discount, it's like $5 only. It's like, if you have a PSVR, you should get Dance Collider. I mean, it's like a given to me. One of the top games that is good to exercise in that category, one of the most fun ones. In my opinion, 0% possibility for injury, unlike Beat Saber, which does have, if you don't play Beat Saber right, if you use your rest too much, you can injure yourself with Beat Saber. I don't think you can injure yourself with Dance Collider I don't know, unless you throw yourself on the floor when you have to like crouch or something like that, but not really. It's there's something else with Beat Saber. With Beat Saber, when you're getting used to it, you have to be careful about not dropping the controllers and breaking anything. That's not gonna happen with Dance Collider, because in Dance Collider you're holding it and you're going like this with the collider, which is kind of like a shield. It probably looks similar to Audio Shield in PCVR, but it's not that one. It's another game. So you're always holding the shield. You don't have to let go of the shield for anything. And you're basically punching things with the shields, which are the colliders. So I don't think there's any, as long as you hold it, don't let go of it. But in Beat Saber, it's so easy to let go of it because you're kind of like using like a sword. And if you're not conscious about it, it can happen that you might let go of the sword without realizing it, and it can cause problems. So if you're new in Beat Saber, or if the one playing it is a kid, definitely get one of those straps and put it in the wrist and in the controller so that they don't break anything. Or if you're getting started and you already want to try expert mode, all that, put it in your own wrist, in your hand, so that you don't break anything with Beat Saber. So there we have it. So it's my top 3. Sprint Vector. Everything is wonderful about Sprint Vector except the difficulty at the beginning. But stick to it, train, learn it. I don't want to say like a sport. It's not that hard, really. It's not that hard, folks. But stick to it. Everything that's great requires a little bit of training at first. If you get better in Sprint Vector, you're gonna love it like I did. So that's my number 1. Number 2 is Dance Collider, and it has a lot to do with the fun. It was the most fun one for me. It's not the most intense one in the sweating, but if you play it a lot, in the extreme mode, you're gonna sweat a lot with it. So it works. Number 3 is a Beat Saber. I think I'm putting it number 3 and not number 2 because of the potential for injury that I see with this game. There's potential for injury with Beat Saber if you don't play it right, if you use your wrist too much. Not recommended to use your wrist. So now we go, okay, number 4, Creed. Creed Rise to Glory. Creed Rise to Glory is a boxing game. So if you like boxing, wonderful. If you hate boxing, you're not gonna enjoy it very much, because it is a boxing game at the end of the day. It's not perfect. Like as a boxing simulation, which was what I was looking for when I got it. Like I wanted it for boxing. Like I was like, okay, I want to train some boxing now. Let's get Creed and see how good it is. So I want it for boxing. At the end, I ended up realizing that for boxing, it's not bad, but it's kind of lacking in some aspects. It's not very realistic, but it is great for exercising. It is great as a cardio activity tied with boxing. So if you want that too, you're gonna love it. But here's the thing, like the boxing matches in Creed, they don't feel so much like real life boxing, but they work to sweat. However, here's the thing, the drills, the options that they have in the game to practice, like training drills, like speed back, heavy back, those kind of things, I think they were wonderful. The drills in Creed, like if you do them every day, like for half an hour, they are like an exercising routine. Like you're doing squats, you're doing different punches, you're moving around, you're in my opinion some of the best because of the drills. So as a whole, not better than Sprint Vector in my opinion, definitely not more fun. It's not more fun than Beat Saber either. Like if you want to get your arms ripped, Beat Saber in the One Saber Expert mode, One Saber mode is the best for that, maybe. The second best for that I think is Creed, with the drills, the punching drills. You know, they get boring after a while, but if you just wanted to exercise, it's a must-have just because of the drills. Okay, so fun, I'm gonna be honest here, it's not the most fun. Like Creed VR, you know, if you love boxing, it's gonna be fun. If you don't love boxing and you just wanted to exercise, it's okay, it's good, but it's not the most fun really. So I understand why many people will get bored of it fast and you're just gonna go back to Beat Saber or Sprint Vector or Dance Collider because they're more fun. And I did that myself, by the way. After I got the platinum in Creed, I went back once because the drills were so good to exercise, but I never played again after that. But I know it works from personal experience, especially the drills. Number 5. By the way, any major negative about Creed? Like, is there any way to injure yourself there or something like that? No. No worries. There's no major negative. Any unique plus? Any unique plus is the drills they have. You know, I think the one where you have to like box with the big pieces of meat, that was so good, that drill, because even though obviously you're not hitting anything in real life, you're just hitting air, it felt like I was hitting that. Like it felt like I was practicing with a heavy bag for real, and that was great. So that's the big plus in Creed, the drills. So BoxVR is number 5. So BoxVR, here's the thing with BoxVR. It has bad tracking, so as a rhythm game it's terrible. It's not that fun really. I had fun with it at the beginning, but then later not so much. But it is very much like a real exercising routine. Like you know, as if you went to a gym. The main menu in BoxVR even looks like a gym, kind of like to simulate that. So it's very much, it's probably out of all of them, the one that is closest to being the exercising game that is for exercising. So BoxVR doesn't feel like a game. It feels like a cardio exercising routine that they just decided to put there. And obviously it is based on boxing related stuff because they make you do different kinds of punches. Some of them you don't even have to do them right for them to register, but the thing is that after you go through that routine that they give you, which may be like 2 minutes, 5 minutes, I never did any of the long ones. They have up to like half an hour, and that must be pretty intense. But I did notice one thing. It feels like a real exercising routine. So, yeah. So that is the major plus. Difficulty is not really that difficult if you pick the easy routines. If you pick the hard routines, it must be really hard, really difficult. Plus, you have to be in good, in good cardio shape to be able to finish them. Because imagine half an hour crouching and this kind of punch, and the other kind of punch, and this kind of punch, and the other half an hour non-stop doing that. you're gonna end up like on the floor if you don't have any, you know, prior training, obviously. Okay, so all right, but here's the thing, it's not very fun, so keep that in mind. BoxVR is not a game, it's an exercising routine that uses some boxing in the routine. It looks nice and all that, it's not a game. Like, if you want to not feel like you're going to the gym, BoxVR is not for you. If you want something that feels like you're in the fun and not exercising, you have to go for something like Dance Collider. Dance Collider has a lot of punching. You have those shields and you have to punch the different things they throw at you. So Dance Collider has a lot of punching. So if you want punching in a fun exercising game, go with Dance Collider. And I don't want to say skip BoxVR. I'm putting it at number 5 because I know it works as an exercising routine. And because it works, I'm not saying skip it, just saying it's not the most fun. Beat Saber is more fun, Sprint Vector is more fun, Dance Collider is more fun. Even Quit is more fun. Yeah, I think so. Even Quit is more fun. But because I felt that it worked for me, I'm putting BoxVR at number 5. It does work if you want, you know, if you want to buy a gaming system to still go to the gym to exercise through one of its games, get BoxVR, it works for that. So now we're gonna go with the rest. So this depends a lot on you and what you like. Like some of these, some people might hate them and it's not ideal for you, but other people are gonna love them so much that they're gonna like them, and I'm sure about this, more than even the ones that I put at number 1, number 2, and number 3. Like for example, Racket Fury Table Tennis. If you like table tennis, of course you're gonna like a really good table tennis beer game where you can play pretty similarly as if you were playing in real life. It's not a perfect match as the real life games. It's not perfect, you know. There are some little things there that you can tell that will not happen in real life, and it happened here. But it's pretty close. It feels really good, and you know, if you like racket sports, you're gonna love playing Racket Fury and sweating in the matches in Racket Fury. And I think that when I got it, the only game I played like half an hour almost every day, half an hour for like 1 month and a half, because I do like racket sports. Was that? It was Racket Fury, that's it. I forgot about Beat Saber, I forgot about everything else, and I was sort of like semi-obsessed with Racket Fury because of how good it was. Like I don't have too much space, so I still don't have. And you know, after Racket Fury, I'm definitely not getting a table tennis table. So how did I took care of my want to play table tennis at my house, where I live in my apartment? Racket Fury took care of it for me. And the fact that you also sweat a lot as if you were playing the real table tennis sport, that was a plus, very nice plus. You're not gonna get ripped with Racket Fury, okay? That's pretty obvious. So it doesn't work that well as an exercise, like for muscles or anything like that. No. Can you lose weight with Racket Fury? Probably, if you play too much. But it is easier and faster to lose weight with Sprint Vector and with Beat Saber. Maybe even with maybe Dance Collider is in a tie with Racket Fury, because you do sweat a lot in Racket Fury if you're playing like intense. If you're playing hard mode, very hard mode in Racket Fury is so crazy, so you're gonna sweat a lot there. So here's the thing, Racket Fury is like a wonderful choice if you like racket sports, if you want a sports game. If you want to play sport in VR, you want to sweat with the sport, wonderful. If you don't care about sports games, if you don't care about racket games, you don't want a table tennis game, you can even skip it and you should go for one of the others. You should go with Sprint Vector, or Beat Saber, or Dance Collider. It depends on what you like, really. Okay, so Knockout League. So yeah, before we finish with Racket Fury, one of the big pluses is that it feels a lot like the real sport, like the table tennis sport. So if you want a table tennis sport and you also want to sweat with a game, you need Racket Fury. We move on. So Knockout League. Knockout League, in my opinion, it's not bad. It's a good boxing game, like an arcade-like boxing game, but I prefer Quid. This is a personal opinion. I have heard from several people that they like Knockout League better. I prefer Quid, and here's why. Quid feels more like I wanted the boxing game to simulate boxing. So Quid feels more realistic. In Knockout League, although it's challenging and you have to dodge punches and it will give you reflexes like Quid, the fighters have like 10 moves. And even if the moves are difficult to dodge all that, they always do one of the 10 moves. So after you memorize how they do each one of the 10 moves, and you're not playing a boxing match, you're just playing like oh, I can recognize what you're gonna do now because you only do 10 moves kind of thing. And I didn't like that very much, really. So it doesn't feel like a realistic boxing. And here's another minus. The drills in Knockout League, they can't hold a candle against the drills in Quid. Like I felt with the drills in Quid that I was exercising for real and that I was hitting like some heavy back for real. And the drills in Knockout League didn't make me feel that I was hitting any realistic punching back for real. They didn't make me feel that way. So it is good. It's not bad at all, really. It's like if you like boxing, you should probably get both. You should probably get Quid and Knockout League. But I feel that Quid is just more realistic. Even though it's not perfect either, it feels better. The drills are so much better, so it's the better choice. However, here's one thing. So I'm gonna say, I do have one thing to say that is really good for Knockout League. I think Knockout League, like any unique plus, any major positive for this one that others do not have, I think Knockout League might be the most intense one, like crazy, for a leg workout. Because Knockout League rewards you for dodging, not blocking. Like in Quid, they reward you for blocking punches and then counter-attacking. But in Knockout League, they reward you for getting out of the way. But you still have to stay in your space with the camera. It's not, you cannot jump to the other side like in a real fight, like in real life boxing. You cannot jump to the side to dodge, or like here you have to stay in place. So how do you get out of the way or dodge if you have to keep your feet like on the ground where you're standing? You have to go like this, to go like that. It's so. And how do you do that? Well, you have to use your legs. I remember the first time I played Knockout League, I ended up with my legs sore the next day, and I was like, what happened here? Like I didn't do like any strong exercise for the legs. What's going on? And I was like, oh no. Knockout League, I did all of it, and I did like 1 hour session. In the matches I did, I dodged a lot, and I did all the dodging like that. And when you do that, you're using the muscles in your legs. When you're like this, what's holding you from falling back? Your legs, they're holding you. When you go like that, you're not using your arms, you're not exercising your arms at all there. It's all legs, and there's so much dodging like that in Knockout League. So, my opinion, Better boxing game? Creed. Better overall exercising game? Creed. But the one that's gonna make your legs go on fire is Knockout League. So if that's what you want, there you have it. So I let you know about it. Knockout League is a bomb as a leg workout, especially if you are serious about doing all the dodging. You know, you have to use your legs because you really cannot get out of the way, because then the camera loses track of you. So you have to stay where you are and dodge like that. So it's your legs holding you all the time. It's pretty intense for the legs. Okay, so now we have Until You Fall. Until You Fall. Until You Fall is well balanced. It's not among the best for exercising. Like, my top 5 are better for exercising. Sprint Vector, Saber, Dance Collider, Creed, all those are better for exercising. But Until You Fall is gonna make you sweat a lot. Especially if you get serious about like the nightmare mode, which is hard. You're gonna crouch, there's gonna be dodging there, there's gonna be sword slashing, but it's not the best. Like, what I notice is, what's gonna happen with Until You Fall is you're gonna sweat a lot, but you're not gonna get your arms ripped like with Saber. You're not gonna have a very intense run like jogging, like jogging workout, like Sprint Vector, and it is not as fun as Dance Collider, for sure. Dance Collider is a lot more fun, especially if you wanted to exercise. Like, Until You Fall is a good game as a game, and it will also make you sweat. So very nice, plus there, and it is fun for what it is. It's not bad, but it's not in my best PSVR exercising games. It's just another one that also makes you sweat, basically. Pistol Whip. Pistol Whip is really good, very fun, and it is the second best for leg workouts. Pistol Whip, you're shooting a lot, and you're also dodging the bullets that are coming your way from everywhere. So what's gonna have to happen with all the dodging? Same thing as in Knockout League. However, the dodging in Pistol Whip is a little easier because you're only moving a little bit to dodge the bullets. In Knockout League, you have to like get completely out of the way. So it's a lot. It's very intense. Pistol Whip is only a little bit, but it's constantly happening, especially if you're playing hard mode. So I think that Pistol Whip, it might be a really good choice for like if you want to like a game that makes me exercise legs. Pistol Whip, and also it helps you maybe to get your aiming, your shooting. Not shooting, you know, that's not realistic, but the aiming is realistic. You know, especially if you go dead eye. I think the aiming is and it's fun. It's a fun game, really. I would recommend it, even though it's not among the top best or anything like that, if you wanted to exercise. So Synth Riders. Here's the thing with Synth Riders. Synth Riders works well, but it just doesn't make me sweat as much, and I don't think it is as fun either as Dance Collider. Here's the thing with Synth Riders. I would love it if Dance Collider didn't exist, but because it feels very similar to Dance Collider, and I like Dance Collider more, even for exercising, I like Dance Collider more. I was like, okay, I like Synth Riders and it's good, but I didn't play that much because it was obvious to me that the other one was better for what I wanted. And here's one thing, one major negative about Synth Riders: the force mode. Obviously, I tried the force mode because the force mode, like it implies, it is the exercising mode inside a game that already makes you sweat, so it's gonna be very intense. Avoid the force mode in Synth Riders because you can break the headset. It is very intense if you play it right, and I was playing it right. And I only played it 2 times, by the way. And the first time I didn't go to the more difficult difficulties. The second time I did it, and I felt that the headset was gonna fall apart on my head. Yes, it was a very intense workout. If it didn't break the headset, which it didn't, because I stopped doing it and I didn't do it again. If it wasn't something that feels like you're gonna break the whole headset, which I'm pretty sure that you don't want that, it will be the number 2 for exercising, perhaps even in a tie with Sprint Vector and number 1. That's how intense it is. But playing the force mode in Synth Riders with force, like you're punching the things for real, doing it right, like you're exercising for real, it makes the headset move so much that it will definitely break it. It didn't break mine because I stopped doing it. I was like, no, I don't want to break it. I would rather not exercise with Synth Riders and not break it than feel like a badass here doing something really intense, exercising here with a game, and then end up losing $200. No, I'm not gonna do that. So I skipped force mode in Synth Riders, and I recommend that you do it too. Should you still try Synth Riders? I think so. It's pretty fun. It's pretty good. It does make you sweat, but in my opinion, as an exercising game, not as good as Dance Collider. Dance Collider, I will end up sweating more with Dance Collider, and I think I enjoyed it more too. So that's it for Synth Riders. In a nutshell, Synth Riders is good, it is fun, but if you want something that is also good and fun for exercising, Dance Collider just does it better. OhShape. OhShape is pretty good, but OhShape is not that great for exercising, really. It's in the easy modes, like easy and normal, there's no exercising because it's too slow. And then in the hard modes, it gets very challenging, like in some cases even too hard. And then it does make you exercise there, like you're really moving around and all that. But you're gonna be frustrated too because it gets more intense in every way. So OhShape has 2 things that I think are very nice that I experienced with it, so I'm gonna say it. One of them is that, in my opinion, is some of the best music for a VR rhythm game. My favorite is Dance Collider for the music. Number 2 favorite for the music is OhShape. Number 3, it might be Synth Riders or Beat Saber, but actually, you know what? Old school Beat Saber was like my number 3 for the music at the beginning. Right now, there's so many packs of music in Beat Saber that are so crap. They're bad. There's no other way to call them. They're crap. They're bad music. They are not wonderful music to exercise. Like Dance Collider. Dance Collider has so many good tracks for exercising. It's wonderful for that. OhShape also has many of them. And I'm gonna mention something very important in OhShape. The Caron Palace music packs, which unfortunately is not free. You do have to buy it extra. It's an extra that you have to buy. The Caron Palace music pack in OhShape, I think it's the only, out of all the rhythm games, the only music pack that kind of made me dance with it a little. I use rhythm games as an exercise. I don't do it to dance around. You see these people on YouTube dancing around with a rhythm game. That's great, that's cool. I don't dislike that, but that's not what I do. I do it like an exercise here. I want to sweat here, and I do it like when I have to punch, I'm not dancing, boys. I'm punching the thing. Like if it was like a punching bag. So it's basically, that's what I do. I want rhythm games as an exercising routine. This one, OhShape, regardless of that, in the Caron Palace pack, especially in hard mode and in the expert mode, I felt in my movements with the shapes as if I was dancing. So it it got it done. You know, the rhythm games are supposed to be rhythm games because they're kind of like, in a way, they also help you to dance a little. Never happened to me before until OhShape. So that's something very nice about OhShape. That's a plus there. Other than that, it is good, it is fun, but it is not the best in any other category. It's not the best rhythm game. Beat Saber is better. Dance Collider, in my opinion, is better. It's not the best. It's very good in all the categories, but it's not the best one in any of them. Even the exercising, you're gonna sweat, it's gonna work, but it's not the best one. If you just want an exercising game, there are other better choices. Okay, Sairento and Raw Data, they are really action games. Like if you play them in hard mode, Sairento and Raw Data, they're gonna make you sweat, but it's just an action game that gets intense. It's not really, it's a fun game, it's a good game, but it's not the exercising, intensive one that you should be going after. Danger Ball in PSVR words, in PlayStation VR words. Danger Ball, I'm only mentioning here because of one thing. It is one of the best neck exercises that I have ever experienced. The Danger Ball game in PlayStation VR words. It is a wonderful neck exercise. Unlike, it's there were a couple of weeks, like 2 or 3 years ago, 3 years ago I think, because I've had PSVR for 4 years, long time. There were 2 weeks when I was playing a lot, and I kid you not, at the end of the 2 weeks, I was feeling that my neck was more flexible, like I could move it more, and it was stronger, like it's, I don't know, like, it was really good for the neck. By the way, in a Danger Ball, it's basically Pong in VR. It's like you're hitting the ball with the wall, but your paddle, your racket to hit the ball, is the headset, which is basically your face. So you're going like, boom, hit the ball, boom, hit the ball, boom. So you're doing it with your neck. This is the muscle that is kind of like hitting the ball. So if you're playing too much, it's 10 out of 10 neck exercise, best neck exercise. So many of you might say, what about Headmaster? That's the one I'm covering next. Headmaster is like wonderful for soccer players. I didn't like it that much. I like watching soccer. Playing it is a different story. It's basically just a game about hitting soccer balls with your head, which in this case is the headset that you have on. So it is really good for neck exercising too, but Danger Ball in PlayStation VR Wars was even better than Headmaster. Unbelievable. It's like the ideal neck exercising while playing the game. It's just wonderful. I think that's the only reason probably why I haven't deleted. I never deleted PlayStation VR Wars from my disk drive in the PS4 because if I ever want to do like neck exercise, Danger Ball is there. So, and what is the third one that I found pretty good for neck exercising? Rush VR. Rush VR has a mode. So you have to change it to that mode first, where you just use your face, your head for locomotion. So you just look at where you want to move while you're racing in the wing suite in the air. It's a pretty good game, by the way, Rush VR. It's one of those that you can only do in VR, like wing suite racing in the air. Obviously, you have to do it with you cannot really simulate that like in 3D gaming, standard gaming. You have to like simulate it with like a VR, virtual reality environment. So if you use the locomotion mode that uses your face to move around, it can be a neck exercise, but it's not anywhere near as good as Headmaster or Danger Ball. Danger Ball is the best for neck exercising. Or if you like Pong. If you like Pong, or if you like, you know, hitting balls against the wall. So, there's something else. Which are the best ones for exercising on a chair? So let's say, this is wonderful, by the way. This is one of the great things about this stuff. Let's say you're someone that is in a wheelchair, on a wheelchair, or for whatever reason maybe you don't have space. I don't know, whatever. You have to play on the chair. How can you sweat? And I mean it like for real, sweat on a chair. The best beer games in PSVR to make you sweat for real on a chair. Like you're not even, you know, jumping, or you're moving but you're not jumping or running like a sprint vector, and you will still sweat. Best one to sweat on a chair, Rush VR. Rush VR, there's a lot of adrenaline because you're racing. You want to get first place, you're racing. And when the whole locomotion, you put it in the one where it depends on your head movement, or even if you use the one that uses your hands. Which, by the way, if you want to sweat, I recommend using your arms as the locomotion mode, even though it is the harder one. You're gonna end up sweating. It's incredible. I think it's one of the very few. I'm not sure if it's the only one. It could be the only one. The only game that made me sweat sitting down on a chair, it was Rush VR. So if you can only play on a chair, or if you use a wheelchair, you have to, whatever happened, you have to be on a chair, and you still want to use the PSVR or the beer games for sweating as some form of exercise. Rush VR is gonna make you feel good. You know, like even in the chair you can still do a cardio activity. So it's very, very good. Rush VR, if you want to do it sitting down. Another one is Audica. Audica, I think, also works to sweat sitting down in a chair, but you have to be playing in expert mode. Audica is a rhythm game, and like all the rhythm games, it gets pretty intense and challenging. So when you're doing it in expert, you can sweat with Audica in expert, and Audica is shooting. So you're not slashing with a sword, you're not running like a sprint vector, you're shooting. And you can do the shooting on a chair. So even though I have never tried it, honestly I have never tried Audica on a chair, I always did it standing up. You can sweat with Audica in the expert mode, or even in the advanced mode. You can also do it in advanced mode on a chair. I'm pretty sure that it will work like that. So, and I reached the end of the list. The last one in the list are Fruit Ninja VR and Stride. So Fruit Ninja VR is good, but it kind of got a little boring very fast. Like if you like swords, if you like games with swords, and you like seeing yourself with two wonderful looking katanas on your hands, you're gonna like Fruit Ninja VR because it gives you that, and there's a lot of sword slashing. It's pretty good, but it is super repetitive, so it does get boring. Like within days, like maybe 3 days, 4 days. So I'm not against it. I do recommend it for anyone that likes sword slashing things. And it is a really crazy game. Like there are times when they are throwing you like 20 threats at once, and you have to like slash all of them with 2 swords. So it's pretty good in that sense, but that's all it does. All it does. So it really depends on you. If you think you're gonna like that, you're gonna like it. If you think you're not gonna like that, you know, it's I'm not gonna say skippable because I enjoyed it. The 3-4 days that I played it, I enjoyed it, but there are many better options. Even for exercising, there are far better options that I already mentioned here. And Stride. So Stride, here's the problem with Stride. Stride is good to exercise, but Stride, I think it feels too difficult at first. I came from mastering sprint vector into Stride, so I was already a player with pretty good reflexes for this kind of thing, and I still had difficulty with getting used to playing Stride. So I imagine that a player that is all new is gonna find it terribly difficult and it's not gonna have fun. So it's not that it doesn't work, it's not that it's not a good choice. Perhaps if you play Stride long enough to get very good at it, you might even put it in your top 4. Why not? In your top 4 for exercising, but it has a very high learning curve, very steep learning curve. I think it's even harder than sprint vector, which is hard. Stride is much harder than sprint vector in my opinion. So it depends on you. You know, if you want to do all the learning required, it can work out well. You can use it to not just for fun but also to exercise. But if you're not willing to do that, like 3-4 hours of training Stride just to be able to learn how to play the game right, it's just not gonna work. You will be doing better and much easier, and you will already be exercising if you just go with you know, with Dance Collider, Sprint Vector, my 2 favorites. The one that follows right after that, so you can say it's also one of my favorites, Beat Saber. And that's it. Wow. 1 hour 20. So we're done with this. I think I really did an in-depth coverage, like deep, with all this stuff. So, you know, anyone like me, because I have been very interested in all these, what do I have available in the PSVR to exercise where I live. It's not really if I don't feel like going to the running track. It's more like if I can't, because you know, everything is time, everything requires time. So maybe there's a day when I cannot afford to be driving half an hour to go to a running track and back 40 minutes to return. If I can simply just fire up Sprint Vector or Beat Saber in one Saber mode. By the way, in one Saber mode in Beat Saber, I highly recommend switching hands so that you exercise both of them, because if you don't switch hands, you only do it with one of them. I think it's much better than Expert Plus. Expert Plus is too crazy. It also works, but it's, you know, too fast. Or you can also use sections of them to make like a seriously fun and seriously intense exercising program only with VR games. Basically, you can do some Sprint Vector for running at the beginning, then you can do some Beat Saber, and then you can finish with pistol whip for the leg workout, and that's it. That's all you need. So I covered all of them. There were 20 or 21 of them, I think. That's basically all of it. I'm gonna do a separate video for my, you know, top PSVR games. Not to exercise, but in general, just to have fun basically, and to experience the best that the platform has to offer. So I'm gonna do that in a separate one. For this one, we're only covering the best ones to exercise. So So we already covered that. I'm gonna leave it here before I get to 2 hours here. But I feel like I covered the topic very well. Like, you know, I'm used to covering topics like this as if it was a class. Or like a presentation where you're gonna kill it with that topic and everyone's gonna leave, you know, not with a PhD in the topic, but you're gonna know what you need to know about it so that no one else can tell you anything. You already know everything. Alright, I'm gonna leave it here then. Guess I have to press that button.